Today I'm talking with my friend Roy Rickstrew of Your Disability. It's great to see you.
Likewise, always good to be here.
I always learn so much from you. We are talking today about someone applying for disability and some ways that they need to kind of keep records, because this all helps with the process.
Yeah, that's for sure. So a lot of times we talk about disability, we think about things like back conditions where we can slide you in an MRI and we can see that condition, or an x-ray, or things that we can test for and have pictures of. But a lot of conditions aren't really conducive to having pictures taken of them. So you think about depression or anxiety or migraine headaches or even fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue. Those things are kind of hard to see except for subjective complaints of the applicant. And so what Social Security looks at a lot of times is they look at the frequency of how often these things come up. Right? There's been times in all of our lives that we broke down and we had a crying spell. But if we have crying spells 2 or 3 times a day, that's a whole different discussion than if we get overwhelmed once a month or once a year.
Right.
It's the same thing with that chronic fatigue. We all have Mondayitis, where we wake up and we're tired and don't want to go. But if we have this fatigue, day in and day out, it's a different discussion. And so what's real important here is that people keep a symptom log. Keep a calendar at home. Write down, had a migraine today, took me 3 hours of laying down to recover from it. Keep track of what that looks like, so that your doctor has a better understanding of the frequency, and Social Security is more likely to understand the severity.
How long does it usually take for someone to get approved?
Yeah, so right now Social Security is averaging about 200 days to get an initial claim decision. So that's from the application date until you get a yes or no letter from the Social Security Administration. And those 200 days sounds horrible, admittedly. It's better than it has been, I can tell you that. But a lot of times it depends on how quickly the medical records come in. So if you see a Cox or a Mercy that consolidates all of their records into one copying service, those records come pretty quickly. If you see 5 or 6 independent doctors that are all responsible for their own records release, sometimes we get into additional delay there. So it just kind of depends on who you see for care. And then of course the other thing is how quickly do your records get to some conclusions.
Right.
Right, so if you have back pain and they schedule an x-ray, well obviously Social Security wants to see the x-ray. Maybe the x-ray leads to an MRI. Well, obviously we want to see the MRI, and that could go on to a CT scan or a myelogram. They may do injections to determine nerve pain or the distribution of nerve pain. At some point we kind of quit seeking for answers and we come to conclusions. And that's usually, when a disability determination is made. So how quickly your doctor gets to that point will also dictate how long it takes to get an answer. Bear in mind, I'm not trying to diminish the value of independent counselors, or you get that one-on-one counseling or therapy. Sometimes I think those folks can provide, just by the nature of their business model, can provide more tailored, customized care. But if you do consolidate your care into these big networks that release records from one place, we tend to get records a whole lot quicker. VA is another one, of course, and all those records are in one central place.
No, that's true. I do have this question. Do they specify what kind of doctor that they listen to?
Yeah, there is some thought to that. So Social Security traditionally tries to look at specialists and gives them more consideration or credibility. They look at the length of the treatment relationship, or if there's a treatment relationship as well. So the frequency of contact, the doctor's going to have a better read on what's going on if you've seen them often for a long period of time, and obviously if they're a specialist as well. If it's a one and done appointment, like a consultation for back surgery, for example, if it's a one and done, it doesn't get as much credibility.
If someone's starting to have issues, would you say, because like I say, I do learn so much from you, would you say people just give you a call and then you can guide them into what they need to do next? Yeah,
I think it's important that you reach out to somebody when you start having some health issues. Talk to somebody about disability. Maybe your records are lined up towards a viable claim, maybe it's not. The thing is, if your claim's not quite ready to file for disability, we certainly need to start talking about the things that you need to start laying the foundation for the groundwork. Maybe you need to take a little time and change doctors where you get a better opinion, or start getting those referrals in place for specialist care, or start the documentation process with your care logs and your treatment notes and your calendars about symptoms and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, a bit more. All right, give him a call today. He likes to hear from you person to person, and you can make an appointment and find out all that you need to know, get your questions answered. Roy, thank you so much.
Nice to see you. Thanks, guys.
Nice to see you.